If you think they're the same thing, you're about to have your mind completely blown. Most people get this wrong, and honestly, I did too, until I started digging into what makes these places so different. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which one deserves your time and money. And trust me, the answer might surprise you. Let's clear something up right now. Borneo is an island. Malaysia is a country. But here's where it gets interesting. Part of Borneo belongs to Malaysia, part belongs to Indonesia, and a tiny chunk belongs to Brunei. When people say they're visiting Malaysian Borneo, they're talking about two states, Sabah and Sarawak. Meanwhile, Peninsular Malaysia, the part connected to Thailand, is where you'll find Kuala Lumpur, Penang, and all those famous spots you see on Instagram. Two completely different worlds under the same flag. The question everyone asks is simple. Which one should you actually visit? I'm going to break down everything from costs to experiences, food to beaches, wildlife to culture. And here's something most travel guides won't tell you. The best choice isn't always the obvious one. Let's talk money first, because that's what everyone wants to know. A flight from Kuala Lumpur to Kota Kinabalu in Sabah will cost you anywhere from 150 to 400 ringgit, depending on when you book. That's roughly 35 to 95 US dollars. Not terrible, but it's an extra cost. Flying into Peninsular Malaysia from most international destinations is usually cheaper and more direct. You've got way more flight options into KL than into Borneo. Accommodation in Peninsular Malaysia gives you insane variety. In Kuala Lumpur, you can find a decent hostel bed for 25 to 40 ringgit per night. That's about $6 to $10. Budget hotels start around 80 ringgit, and mid-range places go for 150 to 300 ringgit per night. In Georgetown, Penang, prices are similar, maybe slightly cheaper. You're looking at comfortable guest houses for 60 to 120 ringgit. Now flip over to Borneo. Kota Kinabalu accommodation starts higher. Budget options begin around 50 to 70 ringgit for hostel beds, and hotels rarely dip below 120 ringgit unless you're okay with really basic facilities. Mid-range places easily hit 250 to 450 ringgit per night. Why the difference? Supply and demand. Borneo has fewer accommodations, and many cater to the eco-tourism crowd willing to pay premium prices. Food costs tell an interesting story. In Peninsular Malaysia, you can eat like royalty on a budget. A plate of nasi lemak costs 2 to 5 ringgit. Char kway teow, roti canai, laksa, all those iconic dishes hover between 5 and 12 ringgit at local spots. A full meal at a decent restaurant might set you back 20 to 35 ringgit per person. Borneo food prices run higher across the board. That same nasi lemak might cost 5 to 8 ringgit. Local meals average 12 to 20 ringgit, and restaurant dining easily reaches 30 to 50 ringgit per person. Seafood, which Borneo is famous for, gets expensive fast. A fresh fish dinner at a waterfront restaurant can cost 60 to 100 ringgit per person, sometimes more. Transportation differences are massive. Peninsular Malaysia has incredible infrastructure. Trains connect major cities cheaply. KL to Penang by train costs around 50 to 80 ringgit. Buses are everywhere and dirt cheap. KL to Malacca by bus runs about 10 to 25 ringgit. Grab rides in cities cost a fraction of what you'd pay in Western countries. Getting around is effortless and affordable. Borneo's infrastructure tells a different story. Distances between attractions are huge, and public transportation barely exists outside main cities. Renting a car becomes almost mandatory for exploring, costing 120 to 250 ringgit per day, depending on the vehicle. Many tours require boats or flights to remote areas. A trip to Sipadan Island for diving can cost 500 to 2,500 ringgit for a day trip. Visiting longhouses in the interior might run 500 to 1,200 ringgit for a 2-day experience, including transport and guides. Let's break down what you actually get for your money. Peninsular Malaysia delivers urban excitement and cultural diversity. Kuala Lumpur gives you the Petronas Towers, incredible shopping, diverse neighborhoods, and a food scene that rivals anywhere in Asia. You can spend a day exploring Batu Caves for free, wander through Chinatown markets, visit Islamic architecture at the National Mosque, then hit rooftop bars at night. All of this in one city, accessible by efficient metro that costs pennies. Penang offers Georgetown's UNESCO heritage streets, where every corner reveals Chinese shophouses, Indian temples, and colonial buildings side by side. The street art is legitimately world-class, and it costs nothing to explore. Cameron Highlands provides cool mountain air, tea plantations, and strawberry farms a few hours from KL. Malacca brings Portuguese, Dutch, and British colonial history to life in a compact, walkable city. The beaches in Peninsular Malaysia have a reputation problem, but some are genuinely beautiful. Perhentian Islands offer crystal-clear water and great snorkeling for budget travelers. Tioman Island brings decent diving and laid-back vibes. Langkawi combines beaches with duty-free shopping and tourist infrastructure. These islands aren't Maldives level, but they're accessible and affordable. Now, Borneo comes at you differently. This is where Malaysia keeps its wild side. The nature here doesn't compare to anything in Peninsular Malaysia. Kinabalu Park surrounds Mount Kinabalu, Southeast Asia's highest peak. Climbing it costs around 1,000 to 100 ringgit, including permits, guides, and accommodation. But standing at 4,095 meters, watching sunrise above the clouds is genuinely life-changing. The wildlife experiences in Borneo exist nowhere else. Sepilok Orangutan Rehabilitation Center lets you watch these incredible primates swing through the forest. Entry costs 30 ringgit, absurdly cheap for what you witness. Bako National Park in Sarawak costs 20 ringgit to enter, and you'll see proboscis monkeys, those bizarre pot-bellied primates found only in Borneo, wild boar, monitor lizards, and if you're lucky, silvered langurs. River safaris along Kinabatangan River put you face-to-face with pygmy elephants, orangutans, proboscis monkeys, and crocodiles in their natural habitat. These multi-day tours run 800 to 100 ringgit, but deliver encounters that most people only see in documentaries. The rainforests here are 130 million years old. Walking through them feels like stepping back in time. The diving around Borneo might be the best in Malaysia. Sipadan Island consistently ranks in the world's top dive sites. You'll swim with sea turtles so close you can touch them, though you shouldn't. Barracuda swarms create living walls of fish. Hammerhead sharks cruise the deeper waters. Yes, it's expensive to reach, but divers travel across the planet specifically for Sipadan. Culture differs dramatically between the two regions. Peninsular Malaysia shows you Malay, Chinese, and Indian cultures blending together. You'll see this in the food, festivals, and daily life. The mixing creates something unique, a multicultural society where mosques, temples, and churches stand blocks apart. Borneo introduces you to indigenous cultures that Peninsular Malaysia simply doesn't have. The Iban, Kadazan Dusun, and dozens of other ethnic groups maintain traditions going back centuries. Longhouse stays let you experience communal living, traditional dances, rice wine ceremonies, and handicrafts. This isn't a museum or tourist show. These are living communities maintaining their heritage. Sarawak Cultural Village near Kuching costs 60 ringgit to enter and showcases 7 different indigenous groups with traditional houses, demonstrations, and performances. Some call it touristy, and fair enough, but it provides context before visiting actual longhouses in the interior. Weather patterns affect your experience significantly. Peninsular Malaysia's east coast gets hammered by monsoons from November to February. Many islands shut down completely. The west coast stays relatively dry year-round. You can visit KL, Penang, or Malacca any month with reasonable confidence. Borneo's weather is less predictable. It can rain any month, though April to October generally sees less rainfall. The humidity sits consistently high, which some people struggle with. The rainforests are called rainforests for a reason. They get rain. Plan accordingly. Time required for each destination varies significantly. You can see Peninsular Malaysia's highlights in 7 to 10 days. Fly into KL, spend 2 days exploring the city, train to Penang for 2 or 3 days, hit Malacca for a day or two, then maybe squeeze in an island. The compact geography and excellent transport make this doable. Borneo demands more time. Just getting to many attractions takes longer. A proper Borneo trip needs minimum 10 days, ideally 2 weeks. 3 days in Kota Kinabalu and surroundings, 3 to 4 days for Kinabalu climb if you're doing that, 2 to 3 days for river safari and wildlife, a few days for diving if that's your thing, and suddenly 2 weeks disappears. Let's address the elephant in the room. Which has better beaches? Peninsular Malaysia has quantity and accessibility. You can reach decent beaches easily and cheaply. The Perhentian Islands offer soft white sand, clear water, and budget bungalows. Snorkeling is excellent, diving is good, and the vibe is relaxed backpacker paradise. Borneo's beaches aren't the main attraction, but some surprise you. Tunku Abdul Rahman Marine Park near KL offers several islands with nice beaches just 15 minutes by boat. Entry plus boat costs around 50 ringgit total. Sipadan isn't really a beach destination, it's about what's underwater. Mabul and Kapalai Islands nearby have decent beaches but focus on diving. If beaches are your main priority, Peninsular Malaysia wins on accessibility and value. But if you want beaches plus world-class diving and wildlife, Borneo takes it despite the higher cost. Food deserves deeper discussion because it's a major part of any Malaysia trip. Peninsular Malaysia's food scene is legendary. Penang especially has earned its reputation as Malaysia's food capital. The char kway teow here is different from elsewhere, cooked over high heat in small batches with smoky wok hei. Assam laksa brings sour, spicy, fishy complexity that's addictive once you acquire the taste. KL's food courts and hawker centres offer cuisine from across Malaysia and beyond. Jalan Alor comes alive at night with endless food stalls. You can eat Chinese roast duck, Malay satay, Indian tandoori, Thai tom yum, all within 50 meters. The variety is genuinely overwhelming. Borneo's food feels more localized and less diverse. You'll find excellent seafood, obviously. Hinava, a Kadazan dish of raw fish marinated in lime juice, chili, and ginger, tastes incredibly fresh when made right. Tuaran mi, a specific noodle dish from Sabah, has springy egg noodles with a distinct texture. Indigenous communities serve fern shoots, bambangan, wild boar, and other jungle ingredients you won't find elsewhere. The Chinese food in Borneo has Hakka influences, different from Peninsular Malaysia's predominantly Cantonese style. Sarawak laksa differs completely from Penang laksa, using a coconut milk-based broth that's milder and creamier. But here's the reality. If food variety and accessibility matter to you, Peninsular Malaysia delivers more options at better prices. Borneo's food is interesting and region-specific, but the sheer quantity and diversity can't match the peninsula. Shopping and urban amenities go heavily toward Peninsular Malaysia. KL has massive malls like Pavilion, Suria, KLCC, and Mid-Valley. You can shop international brands, local designers, and everything between. Prices are reasonable compared to Western countries. The city has cinemas, entertainment complexes, theme parks, and nightlife, ranging from quiet jazz bars to massive clubs. Borneo's cities are smaller and more laid back. Kota Kinabalu has shopping malls, but they're modest compared to KL. The city feels more like a large town. Kuching has charm and great waterfront, but it's not an urban playground. If you need constant stimulation and endless options, you'll get bored quickly. That said, some people prefer Borneo's pace precisely because it's slower. There's less pressure to do and see everything. The focus shifts to nature and cultural experiences rather than urban attractions. Accessibility for different traveler types matters. Peninsular Malaysia suits first-time visitors to Asia perfectly. English is widely spoken in cities. Transportation is straightforward. Tourist infrastructure is well developed. You can travel independently or join tours easily. It's relatively easy to navigate even if you're not an experienced traveler. Borneo requires more planning and flexibility. Transport connections are less frequent. Tours need advance booking, especially in peak season. Some areas have limited English outside major tourist zones. You need higher tolerance for uncertainty and adventure. This appeals to some travelers and intimidates others. Photography opportunities differ significantly. Peninsular Malaysia gives you the iconic Petronas Towers shot, colorful Georgetown street art, historic Malacca buildings, and Hindu temple vibrancy at Batu Caves. These are pretty but somewhat familiar if you've seen travel photos of Malaysia. Borneo delivers unique shots. Orangutans in the wild, Mount Kinabalu's jagged peak, longhouses on stilts, rainforest canopies, tribal dancers in traditional costume. These images feel more exotic and distinctive. Your photo collection will look different from everyone else's Malaysia album. Safety-wise, both destinations are generally secure. Malaysia has low violent crime rates. Petty theft happens in tourist areas everywhere. Standard precautions apply. Peninsular Malaysia's cities have typical urban safety considerations. Don't flash wealth, watch your belongings, stay aware in crowded areas. Borneo's risks lean toward nature. Hiking trails can be slippery, river currents can be strong. Wildlife is genuinely wild. Follow guide instructions, respect the environment, and you'll be fine. The biggest danger is probably underestimating how physically demanding some activities are, especially the Kinabalu climb. Environmental impact is worth considering. Peninsular Malaysia's developed tourism infrastructure means you're part of a massive industry. Your presence supports jobs and economy, but also contributes to over-tourism in some spots. Borneo's eco-tourism directly supports conservation efforts in many cases. Your money helps maintain national parks, fund orangutan rehabilitation, and support indigenous communities. However, some areas face environmental pressure from irresponsible tourism and palm oil plantations. Choose operators carefully based on their environmental practices. So after comparing everything, which should you choose? If you want culture, food, urban experiences, easy logistics, and better value for money, Peninsular Malaysia wins. You'll get incredible diversity, excellent food, comfortable travel, and lower costs. This is ideal for shorter trips, first-time visitors, food lovers, and budget travelers. If you want nature, wildlife, adventure, unique indigenous culture, and world-class diving, Borneo wins despite higher costs. You'll experience things impossible to find in Peninsular Malaysia. This suits adventurous travelers, nature lovers, divers, and anyone seeking experiences beyond typical tourist paths. The truth is, they complement each other rather than compete. The perfect Malaysia trip includes both. Spend a week in Peninsular Malaysia exploring cities and culture, then fly to Borneo for nature and adventure. This combination shows you the complete picture of what Malaysia offers. But if you're forced to choose just one, ask yourself, what matters more? Do you want convenience, variety, and value? Choose Peninsular Malaysia. Do you want wild nature, unique wildlife, and distinctive experiences? Choose Borneo. There's no wrong answer, just different priorities. What most people don't realize is that choosing between them is like choosing between two completely different vacations that happen to share the same country name. They're that different. Understanding this helps you make the right choice for your interests, budget, and travel style. Both deliver incredible experiences, just very different ones. Now you know exactly what each offers, what they cost, and which aligns with what you're actually looking for in a trip. Make your choice based on reality, not assumptions, and you'll have an amazing time either way.